It's Sunday. Yeah, I had to think about that. Sunday. And it is April something. Oh, boy, my head has been in editing, you can tell. Okay, let's start. Hi, it's Sunday, April 19th, and we're back again for another live Facebook video, behind the scenes with Ann, whole dealy wheelie. Today we're going to talk about book 7 in the Deadwood series, Wild Night Fright in Deadwood. Can't read the titles. This book, as you all know, those of you who have been doing this with me for a few times, I'm going to read a little bit and keep stuff going until we get people in here and get questions rolling. Then we'll really get rolling. But to start with, how about I read the back of this really quick? Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, especially a dead one holding a grudge. Grudge. And I'm editing. That's a confidence builder. Back on Deadwood's list of usual suspects, Violet Parker is hip deep in wild frights and fired up females. After juggling bitter threats, haunted buildings, and vengeful ghosts, the last thing she needs is a pair of bull-headed detectives trying to pin another murder on her tail. Can Violet find the real killer before she ends up behind bars? Or worse, on a slab at the morgue. Da-da-da. So, let's get rolling. Hello to all of you who have joined in already, and thank you in advance. I hope you asked lots of questions. We have the really cool mug, thanks to Mark and Michelle Davis, and it has, I believe, all 10 of my covers, books 1 through 10 on it, and an autograph too. So it's a really cool coffee mug, and if I think it's, unfortunately, you have to be from the U.S. asking questions. If you're not from the U.S., I think we can send you something, decal or something else really cool as well. So anyway, to be eligible to win the mug, you have to ask some questions about the books, about some things, so that we're all having a good time interacting, and I don't sit here just reading the book in front of you silently. We could do that. Wouldn't that be fun? Let's talk a little bit about this book to get us started. Can you guys see the head frame? Whoa, there. The head frame? Yeah, that is, I believe, South Dakota buddies, you'll correct me, the Yates Shaft head frame. There's also the Ross, which is on the other side. And it's kind of an icon there in Lead, South Dakota. And it is pronounced Lead, not lead. It's been there for so long, and when you see it, pictures of Lead, you often see that head frame in the picture somewhere. So, excuse me. So I wanted to include it on a book that took place in Lead. And to get this picture, it took a little bit of work. It ended up, after contacting a couple people about maybe using their photograph, I ended up going there myself while we were going there, and going up on the hillside where I wanted to set the location of the old Sugarloaf building. And I took the picture with my old trusty iPhone. Took several pictures until I got the one I wanted, and then I worked with my graphic designer, and we put it in there, and she did all kinds of wonderful things with to make the fun starry looking sky. So that's kind of how the cover got. Now I'm glitching a little here. It's really kind of trippy, or maybe I'm started drinking too early, could be. But anyway, it's glitching a little. So if you glitch and we lose you, or you lose me, we'll try to come back and see what happens. You know how this works with everybody and their brother right now streaming and all the good stuff we're doing at home. So just be patient with it. Okay, so we have a good showing today. Thank you all for coming, and I can't wait to see some of the questions you guys ask me and try to figure out the answer. Today I'm going to play it smart. I'm not going to start drinking until about halfway through the show, because when I had whiskey 2 shows ago, right out of the gate, yeah, that was fun times in my head while we were talking. So I need to keep it a little mellower so I know what I'm saying until the end of the show. Plus, I'm editing like crazy right now on book 11. I'm on chapter 13 out of 26 with the goal of getting that manuscript off to my wonderful editor tomorrow evening. So I kind of have to keep a clear head so that I don't go pass out for about 6 hours after this and be late turning that in. So I'll be drinking some. You guys drink more for me. And next weekend, we'll whoop it up, because I think I'll be done with all that for a while until it comes back to me. I wanted to give you a little update on what's going on otherwise besides me doing edits. first of all, for book 11, it will go to my editor. It'll take her 2 weeks or so, and she'll get it back to me. Then I will turn around and I will go through it again, and then it will go to my beta crew. And then once the beta crew gets it back, then we'll make the final and put it up. In the meantime, though, we will put a file up that will be it'll be what comes back from the editor cleaned up, so that we have something out there as a pre-order. And you have to put up something decent these days as your pre-order, because not to diss the great god Amazon, but they have a habit, or not a habit, well, habit for some, a problem lately of putting out the wrong books. They will put out your placeholder book by mistake instead of the actual live one, saying that there are glitches in their system. So it's kind of like an author's worst nightmare to have your, dirty laundry shown. Your book goes out with all kinds of errors, and that's no good. So we'll try to put the best copy we can up, and then put the final in well ahead of time, so that when the book comes to you at the end of May, it will be a clean copy with all the good stuff, the same as usual. So that's the update on Deadwood 11, and I might read you a little bit of it today if we have time. We'll see. The other thing I wanted to tell you about, I'm going to show you this picture. Several of you will be happy to see this. Let me, sorry, man, my throat is just not participating. I don't know if you can read this. There we go. Headed to Retail. That is in cahoots with the Prickly Pear Posse audiobook. Finally. Headed to Retail means we're no longer going through where Amazon's reviewing it, and we're finally getting out there. So stay tuned. You might see it as soon as I do. They usually try to send me an email when it goes live. I will be announcing it with trumpets and flares and all kinds of maybe airplanes in the sky. A blimp would be fun, because we've been waiting for months and months and months for this book to go live, this audiobook. So again, In Cahoots with the Prickly Pear Posse is coming your way soon. Fingers crossed. Oh, I will let you know as soon as I know. And I hope you guys get a chance to listen. You can check with your library, see if they'll order it, because libraries, it's available there as well. Maybe, maybe not. I hope you can listen to it, because it's a really fun story. And Lisa Larson did a great job on this. Okay, so that's kind of my update on what's going on here. We're still alive. We haven't eaten the children yet. We've put some good barbecue sauce on their arms every now and then, but then we come to our senses and we just stare at the cats with a little bit of drool running down our face. Kidding, cats are fine, children are fine. Mr. Lucky's working away over halfway through The Undertaker #3, so he's cooking, and that's where I'll be heading next to hang out with him in Old Deadwood. So let's see. Oh, see? Proof. Children are still alive. They're still kicking here. That's good. Thank you, Chicken Noodle. So let's go to some questions here. Thank you for the questions. Let's get rolling. I did also bring my old paperwork from Deadwood #7 this time, like I said I would, so we can look at some of that later. Donald, hi Donald. Is the clock behind you a Black Forest clock? Can only see the very bottom of the pendulum. Does it make a chiming sound that only you can hear? No, that is, I would tip it. I don't know if I can do this. Yeah, that's our mixer clock. The cupcake makes me hungry all the time. I would like it to be a Black Forest clock. That would be fun. And sometimes, yeah, I don't want to think about that ticking sound. That would drive me crazy. April, hi April. Forgive me if this has been asked before. How do you decide on names for the others and what abilities they have? That has not been asked that I can think of, at least not that I remember. A lot of times I go through mythology, search through all kinds, like for example, Slavic, German, Old German. I mean, all over the place I'll go searching through, trying to find names, trying to find creatures that are, have been talked about, or in fables or in stories or whatever, to kind of pull in some fun stuff that's already out there. Many times the names are actually what the creature is that I found. Trying to think I don't know, I say it wrong. Vicky Husky, help me here. Leadert. I can't say it. I sound like my nose is plugged when I say it. That is actually from what I found on many sites for that creature. So sometimes it's that. Sometimes I make up names. I think I talked in a previous one about Kirkaz, the demon. He is one I did make up because I wanted to come up with something that wasn't out there so somebody could say, no, you're wrong. This isn't what so-and-so is like as a demon. You know, he and I have lunch all the time and he's really like this. I didn't want that to be something that could be used. I wanted to come up with a demon name and something that hadn't been used before, which is really hard to do these days. You can type in all kinds of names in the internet and there's people's names, there's weird things, there's groups, it's crazy. So a lot of times it's a mix. I find a real creature that, well, not a real, from mythology, from some folklore, and then I change it a little bit and make up the name. Same thing goes on with Mr. Lucky, and when we're working in the old Deadwood stuff, we'll have fun going through history. He'll look through all kinds of different mythology sites and monster sites, and we come up with, he'll come up with something and we think about what it could do, and I think I'm spending a lot of time on this question, so I'm going to move on, April, but that's a really good question. Amber, hi Amber. Do we find out the source of the creatures and stuff? Is it the pit? That would be giving away so much, Amber, that I don't think I can answer that fully. I can say you will find out a lot as the series keeps going. This one, as well as the Deadwood Undertaker series, you'll find out more and more, but I'm not going to tell you where they come from or what's going on, because that's part of the fun of spending our whole lives reading this series that probably might run as long as I'm around. So yeah, we'll see. But that's a really good question. Wow, let me go back. Oh, thank you for those who have said you like my hair. I've gone blue. Blue ladies. What is it? Blue-haired babes. I had a book I was going to write. I still might. Blue-haired babe. A busload of blue-haired babes. That's what it was. So I still might write that. I always like that title. And I have it plotted out. I just haven't done it. Is there really a Sugarloaf from Gail? Gail, there are many buildings that look a lot like the Sugarloaf building in that area in Lead and Deadwood. And I pulled from several buildings that I like there, that kind of creep me out a little bit, or that sit off on their own. They're just, it's that old style brick building that we see in so many small towns. And so I kind of pulled, what I've seen from some dilapidated ones and other stuff and created this Sugarloaf. Now, there is not one setting where I put this Sugarloaf building, and there wasn't one like it there in Lead way back when. I actually had to, I'm having a deja vu because I think I wrote about this lately somewhere, but I actually had to make a history for that area because there was a Homestake gold mine. I think it was the electrical plant, steam, something was there, and that really isn't the place where Olaf and the miners who came over with him would live anyway. They lived in another part of Lead, but I really wanted the building there so that I could look across from the building and see that head frame. So I had to fictionalize that a little bit. Thank you, Joanne, on my photos. I appreciate that. I have fun with my phone, trusty iPhone. How do you decide? Okay, I'm reading back through. Sorry about that. Where is my hat today? From Joanne. It is right there. I decided to go hatless. I try to mix it up so that if you're looking through all these videos over at YouTube trying to figure out what you've looked at or what you've watched and what you haven't, you can go, oh, that's the one where she wears the purple hat. Oh, that's the one where she has no hat, and so forth. So you can separate which one is which. And that's why I'm also changing it. We changed the background. So again, it helps you remember what you've seen. And for those of you who, you can't see the title, but I'm sure many of you know what movie this is. It's one of Mr. Lucky's favorite movies. I kind of feel like Jimmy Stewart's watching me. Hi, Jimmy. Okay, I'm going to keep reading here. How do you come up with clever titles? Thank you, Patty, for that. My clever titles, let's see. It's a mix. And I think I've told you guys this before, but I can't really write the book until I come up with the title. It's a lot of people can just go forth and come up with it later, but the title really helps me. And for example, A Wild Fright in Deadwood. I liked the idea of playing with a wild night, even though it's in Lead, but playing with that whole concept and then building the story around that. I like to, each book I'll start and list out a bunch of possible names I'm thinking that might go with what I might think happened there. And then I'll narrow down and put my head together with Sam Lucky or my friend Jackie Rogers and say, what do you think? What of this? What about this? What about this? And that's how we kind of go forth. Whatever hits me, feels good in my gut to go forth, that's another way I will say, okay, that's the title, let's roll. So that's kind of how I come up with them. Okay, let's see. I don't want to miss any, so I'm... When Prudence says Wilda has to return the pearl. Oh, Michelle, you kill me, Michelle. Is the pearl the book that Violet took or something else? I don't want to ruin it for everybody, but I do believe the pearl is the book. Now, I haven't reread this book this week because I had no time. I've been, like I said, working on book 11. But I'm pretty sure when Prudence mentions the pearl, and a lot of people have asked me about that, she's talking about the book. But don't hold me to that because I have to go back and read it all and get my head back in that place to be definite on that. So that's kind of an answer, Michelle. Good one. Dawn Marie. Cornelius didn't want the ice cubes either. Cornelius, that's right. I wonder if he's tapped in a little bit there. What's with ice cubes and everybody? How would Violet handle a lockdown with the twins? Oh my gosh. She would probably do okay for a bit, but that chicken, I think the chicken would send her over the edge. Or the cat. The cat waking up with all kinds of stuff. Can she have Doc there too? That might help. She might lock herself in the basement away from them all. Why doesn't the open cut just fill up with water like other mining pits? Gail, I'm not 100% positive of the answer on that. I do believe it has something to do with the fact that Homestake, they still pump out the water from down below. So they're still running the pumps. They did let the mines for several years fill back up with water. And I think it got up closer to the 1 mile mark. It's pretty deep. Underneath, the water was filling up. But then since the Sanford lab has come in and they built their labs down there, as far as I know, I believe they've been pumping out the water again. Now, Becky Binder or Bev or any of you guys that are from Lee, Deadwood area that know this answer, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But that is my understanding why the open cut has not filled up, because it is at such a level, so many feet up anyway, dug, a mountainside that's been dug out, that it's just not low enough that the water came in. The water level hit it. I mean, that's a good question, Gail. Cooper told Violet and Harvey they are like Shaggy and Scooby-Doo because they always find trouble. This is from Kimberly. Hi, Kimberly. Which is which, do you think? You mean who's Shaggy and who's Scooby-Doo? I tend to think of Harvey as Shaggy because he's Shaggy, and Violet as Scooby-Doo because I could see her jumping into Harvey's arms if things went crazy. That's a good one. What is Masterson and who does he report to? That's from Pat. That's a question we all wonder, Pat. Who is Masterson? We know he's in the Undertaker series as well. And how can that be? Because, I mean, that makes him super old, but yet he's had a dad that Harvey knew. It's really kind of a mind twist there. And what I want you to do until I tell you, which is going to be books and books down the line, or you figure out more from Mr. Lucky and me in the Undertaker series, is you can come up with a bunch of different theories about who this guy is, who he reports to, how in the heck was he a kid that Harvey saw that was raised? How is all this going on? It's crazy. But there is a whole thing behind Masterson that I did a long time ago. So I planned it. And yeah, believe it or not, the plan has actually worked so far. What is your favorite place in Deadwood to eat? From Jody. Hi, Jody. I know you go there a lot. That's tough because I like a lot of places around there. We love to hit all kinds of restaurants as we go. For example, Mr. Lucky and Chicken Noodle, Taco Time. I think it's Taco Time. No. Mr. Lucky, what's the place you go to? Taco John's. I think it's Taco John's. He likes that. Taco Time's here. So they like to go there. The Social Club. I love the Osso Buco. Every time. It never fails. It's so awesome. We go to the Social Club. We've been to the Gem Steakhouse. We've been the Maverick Steak. It's Maverick Steakhouse. We've been all over the place. Up in Leeds, several different places. So Stamp Mill. We just try to go everywhere. Central City, Pizza Lab. I love the Pizza Lab too. So I don't really have a set favorite. I have several favorites that we like to go to and get all kinds of foods. We haven't really ventured down to Rapid City too much or out of Deadwood Duluth because we're always so busy when we're there that when we're done each day, we just kind of want to stay put. Thank you for that question, Jody. Do you think you will ever travel to the Black Forest of Germany from Tara? Tara? Tara, not Tara. I would love to. Mr. Lucky and I would love to go over there someday. I don't know that we'll take our children because children, yeah, I don't know if they would enjoy it. And I think they would get really annoyed with us taking our time researching everything and looking at clocks and talking about that. I think their eyes would glaze over. So someday we hope to head over there. It would be a blast to see it. Who did Prudence marry? Pat asked, not Boone or Rabbit. She married Mr. Baker. He was a doctor. He's not shown up yet, I believe, in the Deadwood series, because that's just getting rolling. But Prudence was, I believe her name's Prudence Baker, and she married a doctor, and he had a kid, a boy, that looked a little bit like Lane. What timekeeper duties interfere or help with executioner duties? From Dawn. Wow, that's a good question. We haven't really fully explored timekeeper stuff yet. If I'm looking around trying to remember what we've covered on timekeeper things and what we haven't. So I think that is something, a skill that we will be exploring more in the future. I think what we have talked about is when something comes in, it chimes. When something leaves, it chimes. Isn't that so? And if it's ticking, it means something is on this plane with Violet. And if it's not ticking, it means something is not here. So, and the chiming or the cuckooing represents change. So that is as much as she's learned. And a ticking clock is trouble for Violet in many ways if it's one of her enemies. I think that's all we know at this point. There'll be more to come. More timekeeping fun. How far ahead do you outline your books? Oh, that's a good question, Angie. So let me get back to that. I'll say maybe one or two more, and then I'm going to come back to that, Angie, because I got some paper. I have some papers here I can show you. Prudence asked for the librarian several times. Will, did we ever find out if she was talking about Zelda or if she's maybe talking about Aunt Zoe? She was from Elena. Hi, Elena. She was talking about Zelda. She was the librarian she wanted because Zelda is a really good channel for her. So she knew from Zelda walking through that house, Zeke and Zelda, the first time they checked out the house, that Zelda was perfect. And so that was who she wanted Violet to get back there. Did Masterson put his sights on Zoe just to control Violet, or was there more to it? That was from Joanne. Hi, Joanne. I believe it was a mix. I believe he wanted to control Violet, but I do really think he likes Zoe. I think he sees in Zoe someone that he could enjoy. I mean, when you live as long as Masterson has, I'm sure you get a little bored with young, pretty things. So you probably want someone that gives you more of a challenge mentally. So I think that there was that to it. And how do you think Masterson would feel if he knew Violet? If he knew Violet felt since every time he was near. If he knew what she felt? Oh, I don't know. I think it would just be something that he could use in his own way against her. And I think it's a good thing that she doesn't share because it helps her have a secret that she can tell when he's near, even if she doesn't see him. So it's like I can't think of the word I want here, but it's like a nice little hidden thing she can keep to herself and use to track others that are here, including him. So let me go back quick too, and I might lose people here as I go back, but I want to go back to the question about how far ahead do you outline your books from Angie. So let me do this real quick sideshow. I was going to juggle, just kidding. I'm going to show you some little tools I use, and I've taken these to some talks before, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time showing you these because you're going to get sleepy. But here is something I used for book 7. This is called, I don't know, there's official names. Authors will tell you all kinds of things. I just call it my plot sheet. And I have opening scene, inciting incident, lead up to plot point 1, and then over here it goes Violet's plot, Doc's plot, Villain's plot, Coop's plot, romance plot. So I kind of keep track, and it keeps going. See all those, oh, look at all that writing. Pinch 1, midpoint, pinch 2, plot point 2. This is real high level stuff, not like, I don't mean like Brainiac. I mean, it's a high level of tracking the story. Crisis, climax, final scene. So that's something I fill out as I go. But I actually, before I start the book, I'll do several things to get myself in the story and get it going in my head. And this is one of them. I will do this really loose like this without a lot of super detail on each square, just to show myself that this is a book, that there's enough here and I can pull this off. It's kind of a confidence thing. Usually, so this is the start, the opening scene. Usually by the time I'm maybe here, I'm totally off track of the first one. I'm going a whole different direction for most of the plots. But this thing said, hey, you can write this book. It's there. So that was one. We'll get rid of that one for now. Next up, another one I have is threads. This is my thread sheet. Oh yeah. This is another fun one. Actually, it's like that. I try to save paper. So these are threads, and I'll give you just a couple threads as an example of things I track. And I do this as I write each chapter. I will go back and I will mark the threads that I pulled along. Imagine a big rug here, and these are threads going. For example, Violet making a sale. Violet's security for her family. What's another one? Violet and Rex. Violet and Natalie. Doc researching ghosts or the past or books. Prudence. Zoe and Reed. Let's see, Natalie helping Vi. And then there's the kids. Lane's picture, and he's in danger. Harvey, oh, here's a good one. Harvey and his womanizing. See, Harvey and his womanizing, and he's got some X's along there. So I go through it all, including all the characters, Cooper, Jeff W., Cornelius, Ben Underhill, Mona, Jerry. I include this throughout for the whole thing, and I go all the way through, keeping track, and then I look for, when I'm done and I'm getting ready to go through what I'm doing right now, I look for holes. I look for, where did I go? What was this? Why is this whiter down here? Do I need more? Do I not? So I use this to keep track of the threads and make sure I'm pulling stuff all through the story. Sometimes I'll tie a thread at the end. Sometimes I'll pull it on to the next, as many of you know and want to sometimes stab me for. So that is my thread sheet. Let's see, here's another one quick, Angie, since I'm still on your question. I'll come back to everybody else. Story questions, this is another one I'll do. Story questions, character journey, reward at the end. Story questions like, will Violet be able to prove her innocence in Wanda's murder by finding out who did it and why? So that goes with Wildfright, as those of you know who've read it. And then I'll ask about, maybe the mayhem plot. Will Violet figure out what Wanda's death means to her own safety? Will she be able to keep her family and friends safe from this new danger? Will Prudence be able to help her stay alive? And will she finally find out why Jane was killed? So I will start. This, again, is another thing I do at the start of a story to get myself going and answer all these questions in my head so I know what the story is going to be about. Character journeys. Why Violet took the journey to gain self-confidence, take a step forward, and blah, blah, blah. So it's about several of the characters, and that is that one. Another one. Don't worry, there's not that many more. This one is theme and premise. Theme, contempt towards something or someone. So I try to have that theme in every scene. Premise, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. So I keep that in mind for every scene. And if you think about this book, and you read it back through and think about each chapter, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, you'll see where I try to subtly put that underneath, whether it's just something Violet does, whether she says something, something Aunt Zoe does, that is throughout. So that is in the story as well, and I kind of make for each one, what's Violet going to have to do with the theme, Aunt Zoe, Cooper, villains, Doc, Nat, and then I finally have the talismans. Violet, over talismans, crazy hair, sense of responsibility, insecurities, curiosity, boots. Rex, he's a scientist, calculating greed. So I do that for my characters too, because when I first introduce them on the page, I try to give you the feel about something about them that shows their character as well as tells it. So that's that one. Wildfire and Deadwood, that's the calendar. Took me a while to figure that out. Oh, geez. A little bit of cookie up there. Calendar, and I write where it starts, and this is number 6, ended on this date. This is where we're starting, 7. Whoa, I'm off the screen. Anyway, and how we go about with all that. Thanksgiving, and I think I had that wrong that year. So that actually down there. So that one's there. GMCs, goal, motivation, conflict for each character. That's at the start too. What is Violet's goal? What is the motivation? What's her conflict? And I do that for the plots that go through. And I do that for Violet, and I do that for Doc. They're the main characters. And then I also do it for Aunt Zoe and all those guys too. And I do it for Dominic and the villains. So these are high level too. Only Doc and Vi are a little bit more detailed. The rest of them is just something general. So I have an idea what's going on there. So that's some of my pre-stuff that goes on. And then I start. We're going to get back to questions here in a minute. Chapter 1, my notes as I do it. Again, goal, conflict, disaster, doing scenes. Chapter 2, reaction, dilemma, decisions, goal, conflict, disaster. So I will go through scene 1, scene 2 for chapter 2. Chapter 3, scene 1, scene 2. Doesn't mean I do exactly as I say I'm going to on here, but I do this throughout the whole book, all the way to the end. I keep track of this, and this helps keep me on a road to where I'm going, along with all the other things, along with the plot thing. Put that all together, and that's how I come up. Now, when I get to the very end, you'll find this in my notes. It's the last, 12 scenes, 11 scenes. When I get to near the end, I have to go, okay, we're running out of space. Let's sit there and figure out each thing that's going to have to happen and go backwards. So, Angie, that is the answer to your question. Very long-winded. But thank you for asking that, because it allowed me to bring out all my notes and have everything ready, just in case somebody asked that. So let's get back to questions. Woo! I got really behind here, so give me a second. There's that one. There's that one. I got you, Barbara. Are the death books in the Mutter Brothers some of the notes Clementine's writing? That's a really good question. And we will have to see now. Oh, you have not read book 3 of Undertaker yet, so I cannot give some things away because it's still in the process. But you'll learn more about what's going on with undertaking and all that good stuff in Deadwood as we get into book 3 of that series, which will be coming out later this summer. So I can't really answer that because I don't want to give it away, but some of them are not. I can tell you that for certain. Some of them belong to others. And if you remember, the Mutter Brothers bought the funeral parlor business from someone else. I think it was like in the 20s, so somebody was already still there. And that was from Joanne. Thank you, Joanne. This is from, I kicked up all my stuff. Let's see. This is since all the groundbreaking in Deadwood and with the Outlaw Square and parking lot at Tin Lizzie and finding all of the old items, this will make more spirits in Deadwood come alive. Will this make more spirits come alive in your books? That's from Jody. And that's a really good point. They're digging up several things, and they found all kinds of really cool stuff as they dug. And I can't remember the details of what at this very moment. But I know they found some, didn't they find it by Tin Lizzie, some ancient, from Chinatown, some stuff up there, and then the big Outlaw Square, they found a tunnel or some other, or a great, was it someone from Deadwood or Lee, chime in and help me with that one, would you? Because yeah, I think it's going to add with some fun stuff that we can do as we talk about the books. Is Prudence related to Violet? That's Patty asking that. That was something I couldn't quite figure yet. You're going to need to keep reading, Patty, because I'm not going to give you that answer one way or the other. That's one I want you to read on and explore. It's going to be a fun whole thing. I really want to tell you guys all that's going to happen. Like, okay, and then this is going to happen, and this, and this, and this, but I can't. So you'll have to keep reading. Can we expect the twins to become more involved in Violet's paranormal duties, and how will Violet handle that? That's from Kimber. I'm not sure. You know, to be honest, I'm really careful with those twins because nothing gets readers a little bit more upset is when you pull kids into stuff too much. And to be honest, this story is really about Violet. It's not about the twins. It's centered on Violet. The twins are part of the crew around her. So I could foresee in the future stuff with the twins, maybe when they're a little bit older. And that could be a lot of fun. But right now, it's not always, the twins are there, but again, they're secondary characters, just like some of the others on Violet's team. Is the purple ink on purpose for your writing notes? I don't know. Maybe. I didn't even think that was purple. I think I just see everything in purple. It probably is. I love purple, Corey. Thank you for that question. Will we hear more about Ray in book 11 from Melissa? Ray is mentioned. You know how I like to bring stuff back around, Melissa. Well, Ray has to take a little bit of time to regroup because he just had his legs knocked out from under him, knees knocked out from under him. So we will hear more from Ray. He's not done by far. But I will tell you there's another guy that we can't stand whose name starts with an R, who is in book 11. Let's see. Did we ever find out why Ray is such a dick from Christina? Not yet. We're getting there. I think he just, he ran the show, kind of him and Mona. He was big to do there at Calamity Jane's for so long. And Violet came in younger, more out to get sales, hungry. And I think it threatened him a little bit. And he didn't handle it well. And he wanted his nephew, that much we do know, he wanted his nephew to get in there, Ben, which he eventually does. And Ben's a nice guy. But I think Ray was mad because Violet got chosen over Ben. So he always held that against her right out of the gate. He thought Ben would be better at real estate. And Ben is good at sales. So, there is some truth to that. Violet had to learn a little bit. And it still is. What is going on with Addie? Addie's animals chasing mice and bats, etc. Are they being protective or are they developing special abilities? That's a good question, Winnie. I hadn't really thought of it. I just think of, years ago, my stepmom, who's really wonderful. She's a nurse, and she always kept our house so clean growing up. She came out to visit us, Mr. Lucky and me and the kids. They were quite young. And I was sitting there, and in our old cat Bamboo, was younger than, of course, and in walks Bamboo with a lizard and drops it right at my stepmom's feet. It's like, we had the house so cleaned. So nice. And my stepmom would laugh and tell you, first of all, stop wasting my time on cleaning the house. It's not necessary. But she is just always been so clean. I wanted the house to be so comfortable and clean for her. And here's a lizard. And the lizard ran under her chair. And she went, ah! And so that's kind of just, to me, animals. Our cats have brought in, here we had a cat bring in, what are those icky long centipedes? Huge, thick, gross centipede. Brought it in and dropped it right on the living room floor. Ah! So I'm just used to animals, dogs growing up on the farm, bringing us gifts and saying, here you go. And I kind of like including that in to give the animals some personality. And the vegetarian cat, Bogart would not eat it, of course, so Bogart would give it to someone instead. Let's see. Whew, I need to take a drink here. I hope you guys are enjoying drinking. Let me read this one, and then I'm going to start with the water. Doc and Violet, so relieved she finally said the L word in this book. Sorry about that. Me too. I know. Poor guy. I feel bad for Doc every time when he drops that, and then he sits there and waits for, it's like at least 2 or 3 weeks before she says anything back. You just put yourself out there on the line and say, I love you, and you get nothing. I felt bad for him for a long time. I had to, come on, Violet, hurry up and say it. Poor guy's just waiting. Will Violet start using more weapons like Clementine? That's from Kimberly. And Clementine, again, those of you who read the Undertaker series by Sam Lucky and me, Clementine. She's the executioner there. This is what I'm drinking today. This is the thing I can drink and it won't give me a hangover. That's why I drink tequila. I like all the other stuff, but only tequila, for whatever reason, works for my brain. Until too much is put in, and then it has the opposite effect. But we won't go that far today. So, cheers to you guys as we keep going here. Thanks for all these questions. They're awesome. Let me see. What was it? Will Violet start using more weapons? Whew. Yes. She, as you know, Violet's line is much more of a juggernaut. I love that whole concept, that whole idea that she comes from juggernauts that just come in swinging the big things. I should push my phone down. Let's not throw that. And really going at it. I love that about Violet's line. I love it because Prudence, of course, for those of you who read the Undertaker series and you're learning more about Prudence, what she was like when she was alive, Prudence was amazing. And she still is. And she used finesse. She used weapons that were classy. She was not this messy, cover yourself with ash type of thing. She was very smart. as an executioner. So I love the fact that she is now having to deal with Violet, who is one of the juggernauts coming in. And she can say all the bad things she wants to say about Violet's line. But the key thing is, Violet's line is still going, because the juggernauts, as messy and, whatever as they are, they can kill, and they kill well, and they just make a big bloody mess of it. So I like that. Now, for those of you who have read Undertaker, you've met Clementine. Clementine likes to use her hands. Her favorite weapon, is on the, currently, I can't say this for good, but Mr. Lucky and I thought, well, let's put it on the front of book 1, Life at the Coffin Joint, the Eagle Claw, I believe it's called, which is really cool. So Clementine is sort of like Vi. She'll grab stuff and swing it too, but Clementine likes to get in there. She's big, she's strong, and use her hands. So I like that each executioner is a little bit different in how they go at stuff, because I think as humans, that's the way we would be. We come at it, everybody has their skills, and you go along that line. So Violet is using weapons and will keep using weapons, but she tends to like to slug things with big bats and tire irons or whatever she can find, That's the way she fights. This is from Jan. Hi, Jan. Hello to your mom, Jan. Hi, Doris. With all the planning, outlining, and notes, has a character just taken charge and changed your whole direction? Yes. I've talked about this before, Cornelius. Who'd have figured Cornelius would be Cornelius? He plays he has a large part in book 11. He's still there. He's part of the team in his quirky way. And I just figured I'd have a weird guy come in that was a paranormal investigator and want to buy a hotel. He just kind of exploded and went off on his own and just boom. And he's such a wonderful, fun character. I love having him around. I'd love to take a road trip with Cornelius, because I think he would know so much about different places and the things he would tell you. I think it would be extremely entertaining. Harvey would be fun as well. And Harvey is also another who just came on and kind of was way bigger than I ever expected him to be. Ben Underhill, Ray's nephew, he was just going to be kind of a character that came and went, but he ended up getting the job, so he stays. Tiffany, when I first did that first book with Tiffany, yeah, she was so good. She's so perfect. Oh, she's just so pretty and perfect that I couldn't let her go. And she's really good at what she does, selling houses, that part. I don't know about the other part, but it seems like she's pretty good at what else she does. So those guys are definitely, they started out small and they just kind of grew and have stuck around ever since. This is from Melissa. Hi, Melissa. Do you read other authors' books from the same genre and get ideas from them? I do not. Now, I don't know why, but here's the truth. And I put a thing on my website or my Facebook page this week with, I'm interested in a sexy historical romance that's light and flirty and fun. And that is much more, I will read, it's much more along the lines of what I'm usually wanting to read. Not just romance, historical. I like westerns. I do like some horror, but not a lot. Just because, I don't know, I grew up reading Stephen King, but I will tend to go to books where I want something light and funny, or books, Cheryl Rivas, one of my favorite authors. She writes romance, drama, women's fiction more, and I absolutely love her. And I wouldn't think I would enjoy reading women's fiction, but it's such a change from what I write that I think it fills up the rest of my brain that needs filling where writing is. I don't like to read books that are paranormal romances that much, and I don't watch a lot of, like I haven't watched Supernatural ever. And I hear that there's a lot of good stuff in there. And part of it, I think, is I don't want to read what I'm already writing because I spend so much time in that world that I want to break. And the other part is I don't want to pick up off someone accidentally and someone say, you wrote exactly what happened in Supernatural or exactly what so-and-so wrote in her stories. This way, if there is a connection or if it's similar, it's a coincidence. And I can honestly say I had no idea. So I tend not to read or watch similar stuff to what I write. except I love action adventure. I love sci-fi movies. I love stuff like Tremors, um, anything like that. The A-Team, funny mixing. So I will watch stuff in horror, like oh shoot, what's the? Wish Mr. Lucky was here. He might be able to hear me and tell me later. The one we watch, oh, it's a horror movie where it's a husband and wife team from like the 70s, 60s and 70s, and they go and there's the nun, the creepy nun, and the little doll. I can't think of the names. The Conjuring. I love that. So I like to really get, horror movies like that that make you think. That was a really long answer to your question, but there you go. Have I written books under another name? That's from Melissa Brooker. No, I have not. I had to think about that. No, I have not. Everything's just been Ann Charles since the start. That would get, I know why other authors do it, I just haven't, I don't need. Maybe if I started writing kids' books, I'd probably change my name so we don't get crossovers. That'd be a disaster. What does your water cup say? Oh, Corey. Well, this is from a really good friend of mine, Jenny, in Florida that we go visit. And it's a little R-rated, so I'm going to show you. I'm not going to read it. I can't get it in there. There we go. I will shank you with my horn. There you go, Corey. I like this cup a lot. First of all, I love Jenny, and that's Jenny for you. And the other is, you see this lid? You know how many times I'm working at my computers and I bump this? About 3-4 years ago, right before I got this computer, I knocked a water glass onto my laptop. Spark, spit, dead laptop. So I now try to be very careful and use cups with lids. So let's see, that's my water cup. Have you tried mezcal from Christina? I think I did when we were in Mexico last year. And I'm glitching again, so if you see glitching, just bear with us. When we were in Mexico, we tried all kinds of drinks, and then we got all kinds of sick. And we had a wonderful time. And the weirdest thing, when I was in the restroom at the place we were staying, and Bucket, it was a bad place, me and the porcelain bus. I looked over, and a lizard went running right across the floor near my feet. I was so in pain that I didn't even flinch. But I thought, isn't that funny? There's a lizard running by my feet while I'm throwing up in Mexico. So that might have been from the mezcal. It's good stuff. Don't get me wrong. I just got some bad crab down there. Okay, let's see. Have you ever thought about making a tabletop game based on the Deadwood series? That would be fun to play. Christina, that would be awesome, wouldn't it? I have not thought about it. I do being that I'm an independent author, I've retained rights to the stories. And if you know anything about book rights or rights, there are all kinds of rights, including game rights, video game, whatever game rights. And I always just, thought, well, someday maybe I'll use those rights to make something, collaborate with a gaming company or someone and make something. So not yet, but that would be a lot of fun. I think as I keep developing the mystery series, the main one, and Mr. Lucky and I keep developing the past, I think there's a lot of stuff we could use, fodder to do a game. Will we meet more of Cornelius? I'm not sure who asked that question, but we get to know more of him. He keeps, as the series goes on, in book 11, like I said, he's still there playing a big part. So you will continue to learn more about Cornelius. Cornelius cohorts. Maybe that was Dawn. So I'm not sure if I answered your question right, Dawn. But I'm going to keep going. So I hope I did. If not, you can always email me later or Facebook me. Are you going to have Audible books from Lucy? Lucy, I do have everything in Audible except Mr. Lucky and I don't have the Undertaker series in Audible. If that's what you're talking about, those will come. But we are still looking into narrators at this point and the options that we have, because he and I have discussed how fun it would be to have a guy and a girl, a woman and a man narrating the different parts. So, and I know that's done, but I've only ever done a single narrator, so with my other books. So we need to keep looking into it, and there is a cost factor that we have to consider too if we go a different route. So we're letting that series develop a little bit more before we make a decision, so that when we make a decision, it's a good one for the whole series. We do have a winner. I want to announce the winner for the coffee cup, and then I'll come back to some more questions. Hold on just a second. Our winner today for the coffee mug is Patty Finch. So yay, Patty, you get the coffee mug. If you could write me privately in Facebook and give me your physical mailing address, I will make sure that you get the mug. I'll send that to Michelle and Mark, and they ship off the mug to you. So congratulations, Patty. That's awesome. Let's return to some of these questions. Keep going a little bit longer. We still have some time. Why does Cornelius look like Abe Lincoln? That's Melissa. I don't know. You know, he walked in the door and he just looked like Abe Lincoln to me. He walked in with that hat, and he's so tall and bony, and he had a cane. And for some reason, it was Abe Lincoln, you know, look-alike here walking in the door wanting to know about a haunted hotel. So maybe I have a secret thing for Abe Lincoln. Maybe. I don't know. He was quite popular and is, you know, wonderful. Everybody thinks he's such a wonderful president of old. Well, not everybody, but lots. So maybe that's why. But for whatever reason, that was Cornelius. Is Mona writing a book with all of that typing from Tara? She just might be. I wonder what book she's writing, though. So we'll have to see as time goes on what Violet finds out about Mona's writing. That could be interesting. That's a good question. Which character would be the most fun on a cross-country road trip? Is it Arlen or Erilyn Duke? That's tough. I really want the car full. I think I really want to be able to take Harvey and Cornelius and Natalie. I have to take Natalie because she, you know, nobody's got your back like Natalie does. So she would be fun. Violet and Doc. Cooper, I guess if you want a couple, kind of cover your butt on some stuff, Cooper would be okay. It'd be fun to drive Cooper nuts the whole trip, sing like Kumbaya and happy songs like that, because that would just make Cooper's head explode. And I think that would be a lot of fun. So that's a really good question. Becky Binder, thank you, Becky. Construction at the Outlaw Square has unearthed the timber foundation of the old Deadwood Opera House, the boiler and the door from the old City Hall, and an iron bar window plus some bottles. The Tin Lizzy site has unearthed it must be China stuff, or from Chinatown, medicine bottles, pieces of metal, and bones so far. So old Deadwood is being unearthed as they keep developing things. And they try to be careful, I believe, the Deadwood Historic Group, and make sure that stuff is collected and not just buried over. Is the Deadwood, this is from Jody, is the Deadwood fan party still going to happen this year? It's looking less and less like we can do it, to be honest. I have not officially called it off because Lead, I think it was a week ago, Bev wrote to me and said, Bev is a friend that lives there, said that Lead had canceled the fireworks for 4th of July and was canceling big things like that because they didn't see Lead opening up more until mid-July, which really dampers, you know, if they keep it closed, I can't do the signings up there that we were planning, of course. And if Deadwood keeps closed, well, we'll have to deal with, you know, we can't do anything. However, you know, I know they probably might open stuff up, but there's a lot of authors who have talked behind the scenes online about this, and the worry of having a book signing, and not so much our own health. You know, I could wear a face mask or what, we could all do that, but the worry of bringing people together and causing anything to happen. If I was to have a book signing, and you know, Mr. Lucky and I have talked about this, and if we were to do this and anything happened to anyone got sick, let alone got worse, died, spread it to their family, someone died, how do you live with that you were the cause of that? And that really weighs on, you know, yes, I'd like to do this. Yes, I want to get with everybody, but maybe not in June as originally planned. Maybe we push it back further and see how the summer starts and how everything's going with the virus. We still want to go there. We haven't canceled our place that we're renting yet, because we still may go there and see my mom who lives there and visit with other people carefully, but we'll see. So most likely I'm going to have to postpone the fan party and put it somewhere. I need to talk to place where I'm having it, and we need to figure out what dates we're looking at and go from there. So I will be announcing something probably in the next couple weeks about it. Right now I'm just trying to get this book done and get it off my plate so I can focus on that other stuff. Heather, for Lisa, what's Cooper's name? Lisa, I told you last week. I whispered it. I thought you heard, so I'm not going to say it again. You had your chance there. Gail Mathers, is Mr. Black one of the others, or what is he exactly? He is another, like his, not really brother. It was one of his kind that Violet killed. So he is of the same breed of the guy in book 3, the Juggernaut book 3 that Violet took out with the scissors. So he is not human. He is an other. Stay tuned in both series for some more fun with him. He's a great character. A lot of good stuff. And I think, did I get everybody's? I'm trying to scan back through. Patty Finch, one of my favorite parts that made me laugh out loud was when Natalie brought over the Jaguar, she swiped off Rex's car. Coop came over and Violet stuffed it down her pants. Oh my God, I was dying. And then the line, underwear that's fun to wear, pushed me over the edge. So good. Do you guys remember that? I mean, I'm sure some of you, gosh, I was a little kid. And I'm plenty old. So underwear that's fun to wear. Those were the, oh gosh, what was the name of the underwear? They were the, someone's going to have to help me. I can't think of the name right now. But yeah, they were like, had Spider-Man on them and all that good stuff on it. So they were the underwear that was fun to wear. Spidey underwear. Let's see if there's something else here. Gail Mathers. Prudence said that looping was bad, so how did Violet get hooked into it? It is bad. Looping, like what Violet did, is extremely dangerous. And the whole reason that Violet ended up doing the looping thing, and I think that's in the next book, isn't it? Book 8. But Ms. Wolf had to play a part of it. And Ms. Wolf knows what she was doing. So that is why. But yes, anything having to do with using the time clocks or the clocks and traveling and doing that kind of stuff, it is very dangerous, as Violet's had a couple nightmares to show the danger and things that can happen. We've heard stories. Kim Underoos, that's it. Thank you. I'm not sure who wrote that, and I'm just looking down here, and it says Underoos. That's it. Kimberly, maybe Masters is cure cause. I don't know. You'll have to keep reading to find out the answer to that one. Oh, Anne, you're so maddening. I know. It's the tequila. Jan, is Cooper's first name Sue? Johnny Cash. Sue. Yeah, that would be perfect, wouldn't it? That's a good one, Jan. Let's see if I can think of anything. See any others that come in. We're almost out of time. Who did you base Jerry on from Debbie Acree? That's a good question. Nobody's asked me that about Jerry. I have a really good friend. Okay, he's a mix, but I have a really good friend. She's been an author friend since I started. She was a mentor in many ways. And her name is Jerry Russell. And she writes great stories, historical romances. And I took her name, Jerry Russell, and turned it into Jerry Russo. So I kind of named him after her as an honor. Now, she is nothing like a 6'6" or 7", whatever he is, basketball player. She's petite, actually. So I thought it would be fun to have this guy come in, and I wanted a guy bigger than life that was going to take over for marketing and come in and just, where Jane was, this is how we do stuff. Jerry's big ideas, man, coming in with all these big ideas. And having been in professional sports where he's done ads and marketing, he knows all about fame and how to, play that whole thing. So he would want to put Violet out there even more, like putting her on billboards and putting her, all the fun stuff, the paranormal reality television, which we're getting ready to start dealing with the aftermath from. So that's kind of where Jerry was built from. I don't know. He came in looking like a Thor with this big square jaws, just kind of like, what is it, Howie Long, the old Raiders football player that now does all the, he's a talk guy now, but broadcaster, but kind of like him, only a little bit blonder, big guy like that. That's kind of where he was from. And I really do. I love Jerry. I love all that basketball talk. It takes me right back to high school when I played sports and I played basketball. And our coach would always speak to us in basketball lingo constantly about this and that. And he was a great coach. It was like, oh boy, you got to know the lingo to listen to this. All right, let's see. What books have I read from Dawn? Oh boy, I have a lot of books I've read, but to be honest, these days I get lucky in a month. I'll be lucky to get to read 2 books a month. And a lot of that's because of all the writing. When I read books, I'm obsessive. I will not, as soon as I start, if I enjoy it even a little, I will not want to put that thing down until I'm done. I will sneak the book everywhere I can go and read it. I'll go sit out in the garage if I need to read for 5 minutes. I'll go wherever I can and read. And even though nobody says anything about me reading here, I still feel guilty like I always did growing up, because I was always one where my dad said, "Get outside, you've been reading in your room all day." And, in school, I would sneak a book. And once during English, I think it was an English class, I had the book open down on my lap and I was reading it, and the teacher caught me. So I got in trouble for reading during class. That kind of still goes in when I would work at the day job. I'd have to go to the bathroom a lot and read a book just read 3 more pages in the bathroom quick and then go back to work. So I try to limit myself on books because I am such a addict when it comes to good stories. So I have to make sure I have time to read it all if I'm going to get started. I read I read a mix. I read Westerns. I read romances of all sorts, historical and contemporary, just different kinds of romances. And I read sometimes some horror, a little bit, like I've said before, but mostly I go over into the happily ever after world and read that because it's the most fulfilling for me, heart-wise, with all that goes on out in the world and the kind of the stuff I write. When we were in Deadwood, we stayed in the Bullock Hotel. They say it's haunted, but we saw nothing. Did you have any good experiences in Deadwood? I have had a few, Lori, with you in the brothel. When we were in there. There was some fun stuff in there. Otherwise, doors closing, stuff like that. But I have had other fans and friends that have come and told me stories about someone sitting on the bed in the Bullock Hotel and other places. So, it's happening there for some people. I think maybe some people are more open channel-wise than others. I really want it to happen, but I don't, because I think it'll scare me, and then I'll never be able to sleep in the dark alone. Poor Mr. Lucky. The lights will always be on. Why does Jerry keep putting Violet out there? Does he like her, or is it just because she's there? That's from Joanne. I think he likes her, and he wants her to succeed. He wants to make her a star and help her be as good of a salesperson as Mona. So he's doing what he knows how in order to get her more clients. It's not to just be mean and put her out there. He sees Violet's potential. He sees younger lady. She's curvy. She's pretty, good, easy on the eyes. Let's play that up. Say with Ben, he dresses Ben up to the nines because Ben's a good-looking guy, and puts him out there and tries to use some of the physical to pull him in. And he knows that's not going to get all the right people, and so that's why he mans her phone for her. Jerry does, and kind of fills things. But he's looking at Violet saying, I think you have potential. I think you could be a great salesperson, realtor, real estate agent. You just don't know how to get out there. And in the small town, where the sales are always as busy, we've got to figure out how to get you out there better. So that's kind of, to me, what's going on with Jerry's head. He's not out to hurt her or do anything, cruel. It pushes her. He pushes her, that's for sure. But maybe Violet needs pushed in the realty world so that she can make the sales. Have you ever done any ghost hunting? That's Christina. I've been on multiple paranormal jaunts. In Washington, when I lived there, I took a couple classes on paranormal investigations, and we would go on field trips over to this haunted house, one of the most haunted houses in Washington State. I can't think of the little town. It's right on the Puget Sound. Beautiful. And this old house that we could go into. We would stay there through dusk and stay there till about midnight or 1 o'clock doing recordings and all kinds of things. I smelled something perfumey once alone up in the attic, and there should have been no way to smell it. So that was kind of something. And the other thing that happened is I had charged all my recording devices, my phone, my video camera, and something else I had to record. And I was supposed to sit in this upstairs room alone and record. And I did that. It was all ready to go. It was all charged when I was on the way over there on the ferry. And when I got there and I set it all up and we started recording, I had nothing. I had like a minute worth of stuff, and everything died. My phone died, the video camera died. So a lot of people say that's another sign of ghosts. They kind of drain your batteries. So I have experienced that, but to just actually see someone there, I think I see someone out of the corner of my eye a lot of times when we're riding late at night, but usually that's just the cat. Cats mess with me. Why does Prudence hate ice cubes from Gail? We're going to learn more about that, Gail. Keep reading with me. It's coming. You'll understand later why she does. And I think I've kind of hit everybody's questions that I see coming in. I'm going to end with one thing. I said I would read a little bit from book 11. I'm going to read a little bit from book 11 for you guys. So I'll end with this. If you have other questions, bring them next week. We'll do it on Saturday and Sunday. I'll figure out as soon as I get done with Monday and get everything done. We'll have another talk. We'll ask more questions. So bring them then if you can wait. Otherwise, you can send me a private Facebook message and I'll try to get back with you in the next few days. So this is from Devil Days in Deadwood, which is Evil Days with a D on the front. So Devil Days. And this is a scene, and weigh in. I'm not going to tell you anything more than I'm just going to read this, and this is Cornelius and Vi. So more about Cornelius. And bear with me, I have been sipping tequila, so we'll see how my reading skills are today. Cornelius and I were passing under the towering trestle sign that greeted visitors driving into Lead when my cell phone rang again. Thinking maybe Zelda had changed her mind about needing me, I fished my phone from my purse, careful to keep my eyes on the upcoming snowplow hogging the road, oncoming snowplow hogging the road, held it out toward Cornelius. Here. He didn't take it. What am I supposed to do with that? Answer it. I nudged his arm with the phone. He tipped his head and looked down at the screen. It's not for me. Of course it's not for you. It's my phone. Then you should answer it. Criminy, Cornelius, would you just answer the freaking thing and put it on the speakerphone for me so I can focus on not crashing? Your aggression levels appear to be spiking today. He took the phone, which continued to ring, but wouldn't for much longer if he didn't hurry up and hit the button. Who's calling me? I asked as he stared down at the screen. Someone named Gomez. As in Gomez Addams from the Addams Family, my favorite goth lover boy? That's Doc. What's Doc? Gomez. Who's Gomez? Doc. You're not making any sense, Violet. I must be extremely low on protein. Gomez is my nickname for Doc. You mean the tall medium? Which was Cornelius's nickname for Doc. Yes. Why didn't you just say that in the first place? Just hit the stupid button. The snowplow blew past, plastering my window with dirty slush. Fine, but I don't like sharing phone germs with you. There's a rather troubling cold going around. Cornelius! I yelled in the cab, making us both wince. He accepted the call, holding the phone out toward me with the very tips of his fingers like it was a dirty diaper. I reached out and tapped the speakerphone option and then made a shushing motion to Cornelius. Hi, Doc. That's all I'm going to read for today. So I hope you guys will come back again next week and we'll have more questions, and I think we'll have another prize. Many thanks to Mark and Michelle. They're so awesome to do that and make some fun stuff for us. So thank you for coming. Again, if I missed your question, I'm sorry. Bring it next week or send it to me as a private message on Facebook and I will try to get back with you. Patty, I see you sent in and I get your message, so we will get that out to you. Everyone else, thank you for coming. Have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. I don't know the day, time, but thank you all for coming, and we'll see you again next week.